Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Attaining the Second Cognition. What I'm going to talk about in this discussion, and yes, this is another one of those unscripted, off-the-cuff presentations, is this concept that you have everything you need within you. This stuff is highly touted in the modern spiritual arena, and it creates a lot of false expectations. And I wanted to clarify what this having everything within you actually entails and why most people are not really achieving a lot of success in tapping into what they feel should be information that is accessible to them from within, because simply they're not asking the right questions. Your Soika intelligence has access to a tremendous amount of information about the cosmos and reality in general. But you're not going to be able to tap into this information, even though you have the potential for it within, unless you can graduate your consciousness to contemplate larger ideas and ask the right questions in order to tap into this information that you have access to. I'll give you a very simplistic, what I think is ridiculous example, but it is kind of standard to form with people within the whole spiritual environment. And this goes into talking to psychics and all this other kind of bullshit that people do. This typical inane, ego-driven interest bullshit. The information you have within, the potential for that information is not going to be gleaned if you're asking stupid questions about your fucking twin flame, whether you're going to get that new job, how you're going to accumulate wealth, or if you're wanting someone to do an astrological forecasting on you, or whatever the standard list of stupid first cognition interest questions are that you find that run the gamut across the whole spiritual spectrum. All of the questions that people ask, even going within in the initial phases, are these lame types of first cognition, ego-driven, stupid-ass questions. Now, there's no way that you are going to tap the potential knowledge or wisdom that you have within if you keep asking third-grade questions. And I mean third grade in the most literal sense of the word. If you look at the things that people ask each other in the New Age, or what they share with, Reiki and all this presumed knowledge they think they possess, every bit of it is ego-oriented, lame, picayune bullshit. So although you have the potential to information within yourself, if you're asking third-grade questions, what do you really think you're going to gain? Do you think you're going to tap into that higher level information if your questioning can't go beyond simplistic human thinking as it presently functions in the first cognition? In order to tap into this higher level information that you have potential to access within yourself, you have to expand to ask more relevant questions. It's like people that want to talk to aliens. If you happen to have the capability to use communication traits, and you talk to an alien, on a planet orbiting one of the planets in Arcturus, for instance, what are you going to fucking talk about? The weather? Well, let's see. If they've never been to Earth, they don't know what Earth weather is. If you've never been to their planet, you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what their weather is. So what are you going to talk about? What do you have of relevance from a strictly first cognition, lame-ass human perspective that makes you think that you have anything to say to someone from another planet, for instance? You have to address this stuff from a realistic standpoint. And if you can't get past such lame human thinking, having the idea, well, I'm talking to the aliens from Arcturus and they're going to come rescue us. I mean, if that's where your mindset is, then the only answers you're going to find from within, if you find any at all, are going to be predicated on the level of stupid questions you ask. If you ask stupid questions, you're going to get stupid answers. You're not going to advance yourself into wisdom or higher level consciousness by asking about whether you're going to get the next job or who your twin flame is or when you're going to meet him or any of this other stupid human nonsense. Every bit of this stuff is ego-oriented. It's not expansive. So if you want to learn to tap into the information within, you have to advance beyond this kind of lame, limited thinking. If your questions on your journey within, the going within, and thinking that you have everything within you, well, yeah, you do. But if you don't look in the right direction to find it, if you keep dealing with picayune nonsense, you're not going to tap into that information that you have within. Having it within you doesn't mean that you're going to get automatic access. The questions that you ask in reference to what you want to learn in order to grow are the library card that opens the library. For instance, you go into a library, you got 5 stories of books on shelves, thousands of books. If you don't pull one of them off the shelf, you're not going to know what's in the book. So having the library there is like the knowledge you carry within you. It doesn't do you a damn bit of good if you don't open the book or ask the right questions to gain access to the information. Just because you have the potential within doesn't mean that the book is going to fall off the shelf, open itself up, and read itself to you if you don't pose the right inquiries. So thinking that you have all this knowledge within and it's just going to come to you like the book falling off the shelf and reading itself to you, you're wrong. It doesn't happen that way. It takes deep inquiry. It takes expansive thought beyond limited human conceptions of the lame-ass shit that people are interested in with their astrological signs and their twin flames or, all the other nonsense that egos are chasing in the spiritual circus right now. You have to find the capability within yourself to ask cogent questions to your Soika before your Soika is going to deliver you cogent answers. You have to use the library card, and the library card is the questions that you ask. If you can't ask expansive questions, you are not going to get expansive answers, regardless of the potential of the information within you equated with all those books on the shelf in a library. The modern spiritual arena peddles this stuff. Oh, you have everything within you, like it's magically accessible. Any of you that have been working on this path for any length of time, trying to do any kind of internal work, from a pragmatic standpoint, realize you're just not getting this flow of information. It creates frustration. You say, well, if I have it within me, why can't I find it? Well, I'm telling you why you can't find it, because you're not asking the right goddamn questions. So maybe this short video here will give you some idea as to how to access that potential information within yourselves by expanding your scope to ask more relevant questions on a larger scale. Gemma has shared questions that she has asked of herself and how she gets answers. You have to learn to do this. You have to learn to develop this technique, and you have to use the library card called Cogent Questions to get cogent answers. If you want to ask nonsense questions, if you get any answers at all, they're only going to be nonsense. You're not going to be fed, you're not going to expand, and you're not going to grow. So hopefully this will help you understand what having everything within really means and how you go about accessing that information by first asking the right questions, second, setting aside all your ego preconceived notions about what answer you want to hear, and listening to the answer that you get, particularly if it goes against what you think you want to hear and opposes it. If you are only seeking confirmation bias with your mind made up as to the answers that you're looking for, when the correct answers are presented that stand in opposition to what you want to believe, and you choose to ignore it, you're not going to gain from it. If the answer, well, I don't want to believe that, well, fine. Then your belief is going to block you from expanding yourself by the answers that you do get, provided you get any. So you can't approach this stuff with a preconceived notion about what you wish things to be, how I want it to be. Well, I have my mind made up on this, and this is the answer I'm wanting. And asking the same question over and over again, trying to get the answer that you want, when in fact the truthful answer is in total opposition of what your ego desires, is not going to give you any kind of reward or advancement in your consciousness. When you already have your mind made up, it's like the analogy of you can't fill a cup that's already full. When your mind is already made up, you're that full cup. You can't put any information into it because you refuse to dump anything out to fill more in the cup. So if you want to understand how to tap into the information within, you have to ask the right questions, and you have to be wise enough to listen to the answers, particularly when they go against what you want to hear. Because that's where you're going to find your truth. You're not going to find truth through confirmation bias and trying to make the answers of the universe fit into the preconceived notion box of ideas that you embrace and want to hear. Just because you wish that it's true doesn't make it true. And by trying to make answers from the cosmos, from your soika, fit into your little preconceived notion box, it's not going to give you any development. You're going to stay right where you are, asking stupid questions, ignoring the answers that you do get because they don't fit into what you want to believe. So, do you want to continue to believe something, or do you want to learn to know something and grow from the experience? Because that's the difference. If you're just trying to feed what you already believe and what you already think you know, and you get an answer from within that contradicts that, and you deny the contradiction, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. So pay attention to what you get that doesn't feed your confirmation bias and it doesn't feed your wishful thinking. And when you find these answers challenging, those are the things you need to pay attention to in order to advance your consciousness. Your soika is not going to feed your ego's infatuation with wishful thinking. If you are genuinely seeking answers, then you genuinely better, by God, listen to the fucking answers provided when you ask your questions. If you want to ignore the answers, then you're not going to gain any ground and you're just spinning your wheels. So I thought I would put this out here to clarify this. As usual, the comment sections are open for more clarification if people want to ask questions about it. If you don't want to ask questions about it and this information is suitable, then fine, work with what I'm giving you. Anyway, stay with your work, stay the course, and don't give up on yourself.